Hello Games isn't yet done with big No Man's Sky updates in 2022, and as a matter of fact, the biggest of them all is still planned, but for the later part of this year, likely to coincide with that Switch re-release. In the meantime though, we do have the Polestar Expedition, we also have its rewards, a brand new patch, and also a brand new technology that only seems to work on one type of save file, so we will talk about that and more in this video. Now, as I've said in yesterday's video, I already finished the Polestar Expedition. If you do want to see some of the tips and tricks and some of the mistakes you can avoid along the way, there's a nice little video down below that you can check out. In the meantime, let's begin with some of its rewards, including this brand new cape right here, fully customizable, and I believe that this is the fourth one that we are getting up to this date. Now, this comes in pretty standard. You can kind of change the primary colors, you can control 3 strips of color, and for some reason the marking section is also present, but I did not notice anything changing when switching between these, so either that is not intended to be there, or maybe there is some kind of bug with how the coloring is handled in this case. But it does look really awesome. I kind of enjoyed that compass on the back. You can obviously color that too individually, including the stripes around it, so I think it's my favorite so far, but totally let me know down below if you prefer a different one or maybe some of the previous jetpacks. On the same note, a second reward is going to be the Son of Helios, which is basically a brand new companion. It comes in the form of this blue glowing jellyfish that you can claim right away. It also seems to be pretty nice. You can obviously mount it, but in a very strange kind of way, because you're sitting in its head, so you can kind of bump into all kinds of structures if you're not paying attention. Probably a few bugs still lingering that need to be fleshed out. In terms of changing it at the sequencer, you don't really have much control as it's the norm. In terms of the weight, you can only reduce it from my knowledge, because it already seems to come with a maximum size for this type of minion. So yeah, maybe you can find a different element that can work, but I wasn't able to do so. In terms of features and colors, even though the sequencer does appear to accept materials in those slots, it doesn't actually change anything visually for the creature. It's always going to look the same at the same size with the same color. You do, however, get full control over its behavior as is the usual, so you can make it as independent, aggressive, or as helpful as you want it to be. In this case, I pretty much reduced all of its independence and pretty much made it full reliant on me, and also tried to make it as helpful as possible, but kinda forgot that it's a very aggressive creature, so it's still like a 79% over there. Now, enough with that, let's also talk about the freighter changes. These are the ones that, in my opinion, seem to be the most interesting, but Hello Games again kinda missed an opportunity here to make something a bit cooler. Of course, these new exhausts in the back, the new gravity drive that gets unlocked with the Polestar being finished, you can apply it to your freighter and it looks really awesome, way better than the static colors that we already have. So this is how the whole setup looks like. I think it looks really nice. I especially like the fact that the jets are finally animated, kind of goes in tune with the high quality of the ones we have on our own spaceships, and in the future we're gonna get different colored ones, including a teal and a yellow one as well, likely tied to the synthesis bot on the space anomaly, but that's likely going to come in the upcoming weeks, or who knows, maybe after this expedition is done. It's not the only upgrade for our freighter though, and the one that I was most interested in was this one right here, called the Singularity Engine. Now, the problem with this is that you can't really unlock this on a pre-existing save file. It only gets to be activated on a Polestar save file, because you literally have a challenge track towards the end of the expedition that finally unlocks this. It's also done through a really awesome sequence. There's a nice dialogue over there with some kind of mega god device, not really sure what that was, but it will finally unlock the Singularity Engine for you. Now, its description reads as follows: an unstable and highly experimental piece of freighter hyperdrive technology, this extreme gravity device generates a wormhole deep within the freighter's reactor core, inverting the entire vessel and transporting it across the universe. And when I first read this, I legit jumped out of my chair because I legit thought Hello Games finally introduced a way for us to skip galaxies, as in just go in and maybe transport your vessel into a different galaxy. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't really do that, which is why I said this was a missed opportunity. Instead, this behaves kind of like a pocket black hole, as in you go in to your freighter captain, talk to him. This is going to give you the dialogue to engage the Singularity Engine, which is going to kind of bring you through a black hole across the universe, traveling millions of light years. So this can result in you being transported into a random portion of your current galaxy. It can be very far away or the opposite of your current location, or also quite close to the center of the galaxy. It's just a matter of luck, but I believe there is some internal calculation over there that eventually will bring you to the center, but I don't think it's really worth it. Personally, I think that this was a missed opportunity, and it's also not available on pre-existing save files, so the only way to get it is through Polestar, unless Hello Games comes in and changes this, or maybe I just missed something. On a final note, we also have some base decorations, including new ones like the flaming barrel. Just like what the name implies, this is a barrel with fire on it, so you can place it wherever you want to, kind of creating a dumpster fire or maybe a back alley with some hobos going on. There's also this one with the navigation archive. You can place these around your base, look really nice and a little bit rusticy, kind of like that. And finally, probably my favorite is going to be the data display unit. I definitely found a few purposes for it, including just having more screens. They always seem to be awesome displayed in this game. On top of that, we also have these 3 new decals or posters you can place anywhere, also Polestar/freighter themed, including the one from the expedition. And let's not forget about the expedition banner itself that you can just display right away in case you're grouping up with people. Personally, I think that none of them came even close to the Mass Effect Andromeda ones, but yeah, it's just me, I just prefer the coloring on that one. On a final note, as I've said, Hello Games isn't yet done with No Man's Sky in 2022, and a lot more is going to follow, obviously, after the end of this expedition, and likely after these 2 months have passed. So towards the later part of this year, we will get the Switch updates, and this is already said to include all of the previous 20 updates up until this point. Since Endurance is the 20th update that we just got, well, it's likely we're not gonna get a new one until the Switch version releases too. But there's also some good news at the end of this, because this also means Hello Games has a lot more time to prepare something really big towards the end of the year. So in this case, they even mentioned that the release of No Man's Sky on Nintendo Switch, PSVR 2 and macOS are all just around the corner, and we have already started on a new content and surprises for later in the year. And of course, they also recently mentioned that these updates will begin to be increasingly more weird. But yeah, this is pretty much it with the update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.